Howdy, I'm Hannah, and I'm going to be graduating with a Master of Arts in Communication Management with a specialization in Marketing Communications this weekend. This is my Capstone project, which is meant to embody the last 2 years of education, so no pressure. At the beginning of this program, concepts like website design, mobile marketing, and marketing analytics intimidated me. My stomach literally dropped when I found out that I would be taking a course on digital marketing. While I was familiar with traditional marketing techniques like TV ads or good old-fashioned sales, digital marketing seemed like a completely new ballgame. Throughout the course of this program, though, I realized that there isn't that much of a difference between the two opposing sides. Knowing this, let's talk about what marketing is. The American Marketing Association, who seems to be an expert on the matter, says marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Marketing is more than advertising, as that's only the activity for communicating offerings that have value for customers. We're also talking about processes like supply chains or market research, not only for customers, but for stakeholders in the organization, like the CEO or investors. To reduce marketing to advertising would be like reducing the president's job to person that tells us the news. And if you were like I was at the beginning of this program, digital marketing might make you want to cry. In the following videos, I'll show you examples from both traditional and digital marketing using examples from a brand you know well. Let's get started. While communication has been around for as long as human life, mass communications really started the marketing industry as we know of it today. In 1450, Gutenberg invents printing, paving the way for the first ever U.S. magazine to be printed in 1742. Most people mark modern marketing at the start of the Industrial Revolution as we start to experience mass consumerism. In the 1920s, Daniel Starch began the market research industry by canvassing consumers door to door, measuring ad effectiveness. The Starch test finally gave companies a point of measurement for comparison to competitors and themselves. Radio would become a new channel for advertising, and once the 30s rolled around, George Gallup would invent demographic research and use this to predict the U.S. election, giving marketers more tools to understand consumers. Other techniques like focus groups emerged in the 40s to test war propaganda over the radio, which led to the discovery that there is a gap between what consumers say and how they behave. 1941 would mark the year of the first television ad by a company who is still in operation today. The 50s would reveal motivational research invented by Ernest Dichter, where in-depth interviews similar to therapy sessions led to the discovery that there is a link between the products we buy and our self-image. Another market research technique came around in 1974 that revealed the effectiveness of targeting different groups of people with different messages. Telemarketing came in the 70s as well, with computers following in the 80s, and the first online marketing campaign going live in the 90s. It didn't take long for the first analysis software to be made once we were online, which finally gave marketers the ability to track consumer behavior without speaking directly to them. Search engines appear in 1995 with Google AdWords popping up around the year 2000 and personalized searches and Google Analytics showing up only 5 years later. Now we use tools like web analytics, mobile marketing, content creation, and more to track user behavior to make better decisions on how to communicate our brand's message. All communication, whether it happens verbally or non-verbally, through digital means or traditional, all communication can be broken down into this simple model. First, we have the sender. This is the person or organization encoding and sending the message. Then we have the receiver. This is the person or organization receiving the message and decoding it, then giving their feedback. Pretty simple so far, right? But this is where a lot of us get hung up. The channel. The channel is the medium of communication. Are you texting, talking? Are you communicating your message through a YouTube video or maybe a flyer? How are you getting feedback from your consumers? Are you conducting surveys or tracking Yelp reviews? When we discussed the history of marketing in the last two sections, we talked about all sorts of channels of communication, all types of ways for us to reach our consumers. With each communication channel, whether it was print, TV, or radio advertisements, we've done research into how consumers best receive our message and how we can get feedback from them through that channel. Learning new technology can be intimidating, but going back to this simple communication model can make digital marketing become more approachable. I'll show you how in the next section. Our communication model outlines the importance of the sender, or the person or organization sending the message. What information can we gather about Target, the sender of this newspaper ad from 1969? Well, we know Target is a retail store because they're showing us a variety of products from different brands. We know they sell everything from fireplaces to gift wrap. We know that they're special because they offer low prices, returns and exchanges, and something for everyone. And above all, that it's a happy place to be. Now let's look at the digital version of a newspaper catalog, the internet. Here is Target's homepage, and answering the same questions, we learn a lot more about who the sender is. They're a retail store that sells college essentials, everything from furniture to tech. Once we click on the categories button, we find even more. We know Target is special because they're close to me, which would make an in-person trip easy. We know they're inexpensive, they offer pickup and delivery, have registries, and they're trendy. If I wanted to find anything specific, there is a search bar, and that's only covering the homepage of their site. We can reach more people faster and display more information about our brand by utilizing something like a website. To send a message, we need a receiver or someone to decode the message. In this case, the audience of the billboard ad from Target would be anyone with an eyesight of the ad. Decoding this billboard, we can tell that the assumptions Target is making about the audience is that shopping, low prices, and taking risks are important to them. One of the best ways to discover what is important to your audience is by tracking how they behave. With traditional ads, we'd have to conduct market research surveys to make this discovery. With the digital version of billboards, search ads, companies can market their products when users search specific keywords. Going through the same questions, the audience would be the person making the search. In this case, Target assumed I'm a woman that likes home decor that might be looking for a job. These are all true, as I was looking for a job and helping my family redecorate their newly renovated home. With search ads, it's as easy as checking the analytics dashboards to see how your audience behaves. This means Target can make correct assumptions about my interests before they advertise to me and get direct feedback about my response to that ad in an instant. The ability to target specific users with specific messages is one of the components that makes search ads so effective. The channel of communication can sometimes be just as important or more important than the message we're sending. Take Target's 2021 Super Bowl ad for an example. The two questions I would ask related to the channel of communication would be, how can I reach my audience using this channel, and how can I measure the effectiveness of my message using this channel? In this case, Target was able to get their message to over 96 million people, even though these were the lowest TV ratings for the game since 1969. Despite reaching so many people, they're only able to measure a few ways that the campaign made a difference, such as viewer ratings and sales. On the flip side, we have the digital option, a mobile app. While the app only has 600,000 downloads on Apple and 200,000 on Android, Target can measure the effectiveness of the app in numerous ways. They can track the number of downloads, amount of time spent on the app, number of sessions, average revenue per user, daily active users, and so much more. While a Super Bowl ad might guarantee millions of viewers, it's hard to actually measure if that channel was effective for our communication. While with digital options like an app, we can get a lot more information to make better decisions for the future of our organization. Is there actually that much of a divide between traditional and digital marketing once we get down to the actual message? Let's take a look at one of the most popular forms of marketing, celebrity endorsements. Ultimately, the action Target wants the audience of this ad to do is shop at Target. The way they sent that message was by releasing a clothing line with Shaun White with a TV ad showcasing the famous skateboarder doing tricks. The ultimate message was, if you buy these clothes, you'll be as cool as Shaun White. It's hard to know if the message was effective, as Target could likely only track the sales of that particular clothing line. In the digital world, the action Target wants the user to take remains the same. The channel was slightly different since they released these campaigns on Instagram. However, you'll note that there is a glaring similarity between the two messages. If you shop at Target, you'll be more like these people. The big difference, however, is measuring the effectiveness of that message. We can track measurements such as likes, comments, click-through rate, reach, and more in an instant, giving us information at our fingertips to make better decisions to influence our audience. What is more important to a business than customer feedback, right? Because if you're not getting that feedback, there is no room for growth. One of the most important questions you can ask is, how are you getting that feedback? Traditional methods involve tactics like customer surveys, like at the bottom of your Target receipt. There are also mail-in, phone, email, and in-person surveys, interviews, or focus groups. Another way to track feedback is by using key performance indicators like sales, profit, or customer lifetime value. The next two questions you should ask are, what is the feedback, and how can you use that feedback to drive change within your organization? If the feedback is good, how can you repeat that success? And if it's bad, how can you improve? In digital marketing, we ask the same questions. The major difference is that the KPIs tracked digitally are available immediately. For our website alone, we can track information like new or returning visitors, user interests, how long they stayed on our site, and how many web pages visited on average. We can gather analytics on social media, email, backlinks, mobile apps, and virtually every form of digital marketing, and then use this information to make immediate changes within our organizations. As I've said before, all communication can be broken down into one simple model, and I've talked about each of these components from the point of view of both traditional and digital marketers. But what are some specific tools or models that can help during each step of the process? Beginning with the sender, we can analyze our own organization by conducting a SWOT analysis, allowing us to learn more about the factors affecting our organization. Similarly, an industry analysis will uncover more about industry trends and roles, and a competitive analysis will allow you to figure out points of distinction
among your competitors, giving you the opportunity to grow. Once you understand yourself and your role in the industry among your competition, it's time to understand your audience. Conducting an audience analysis that dives deep into the demographics and psychographics of your audience can help you identify groups of people that your audience might fall into. Market research techniques like surveys or data analytics can also help develop a full picture of what motivates your audience. Also, a pro tip is to conduct an audience analysis of the key stakeholders that you're presenting your marketing campaign to, because what your boss says usually goes, so you might as well take their communication style into account. When it's time to decide on the channel to send your message, I urge you to sit down and take into consideration how your audience behaves on each medium, in addition to how you can use that channel to track their behavior. This is a great time to set goals and lay out which KPIs will help you best gauge the effectiveness of your campaign, as well as the ways you can improve the user experience on that medium. You now understand your own organization, your audience, and the channel, so use that info to create engaging content. This is when you can get creative by playing off of the brand associations customers already have or telling a creative story using your brand's voice. You can use persuasion techniques like celebrity endorsements, web design, or fun visuals to drive your point. Make sure it falls in line with the research you've already done, and have fun. Feedback is the final step in the communication loop before the cycle continues. The KPIs we set up at the beginning of our campaign is going to give us the best representation of how effective our communication style actually is. Soft testing techniques like usability tests or A/B tests can help gain feedback before launch.
Regardless of channel, whether it's traditional or digital, it's important to set up feedback loops to measure success. Digital marketing can be intimidating. I remember at the beginning of my program cringing at the term analytics. What I realized over the course of the program, though, is that there isn't that much of a difference between digital marketing and the traditional methods we all know and love. Throughout the last few videos, I discussed both digital and traditional marketing in reference to a particular communication model, breaking down each section to discuss the important questions to ask at each step. Whether you're crafting a television advertisement, Google search campaign, or just trying to figure out the best way to tell your sister that no, she can't stay with you at your house with her new loser boyfriend Steve for a week, taking into consideration each step of the communication model will ensure that you deliver the right message in the right way. Please leave any questions you have about the series in the comments, share with your friends, and somebody please tell my sister to break up with Steve. He smells like a squirrel. Bye, everyone.